Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our 655th PMAP General Membership Meeting. And I'm JV Wong from People Ignite, and I will be your moderator for today's GMM. I hope that you are ready and excited because this is our first ever virtual GMM. We don't know how long it'll take us doing this, but as for me and my core team in PMAP, excited na excited kami itry ang virtual meeting natin today. Just a few announcements before we begin, my dear members. And due to the enhanced quarantine, all of us are in different parts of the country and of the world. So, in case of technical difficulties, please bear with us. And to accommodate everyone aside from Zoom, we are currently streaming on PMAP's YouTube channel. And if you cannot access the Zoom link, then please go to YouTube and search for the page PMAP or PMAP. That is People Management Association of the Philippines, or look for official PMAP 1956. Again, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. I am JV Wong, and again, I'll be your moderator for the afternoon. Para po sa inyong mga katanungan for the Q&A segment, you may send your questions dito lamang sa Zoom chat, or for those watching naman sa YouTube, please post your questions as comments. My dear members of PMAP, today more than ever, our beloved association is focusing on continuous learning, constant employee connection, and rebuilding leaders among us. While this global pandemic and ECQ is both our national and global concern, hindi po tayo titinag, hindi po tayo titigil. We will virtually hold hands, pursuing what we are so passionate about. And this is all about people over income. And amidst this pandemic, my dear members, we always seek the grace of God wherever we are. And so we will prepare for our invocation. Let's come together in the presence of our God. Inspired by St. Francis' Peace Prayer, Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, Lord, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O Divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, and to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen. And to formally begin our program for today, may we request our beloved PIMA President, we call her President Loy, President Luisa Mila Echevarria, FPM, to open our 655th General Membership Meeting and deliver her President's reports. President Loy.
Board of Trustees, Council of Past Presidents, esteemed guest speakers, fellow PMAPers, and people managers, friends, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. The 655th PMAP General Membership Meeting is now open. To give you my President's report, my dear colleagues, the world was invaded by an invisible enemy who is without mercy. It is a coronavirus, also known as COVID-19. This pandemic is an unprecedented global threat to our health and has brought our world to a standstill with unparalleled and unforeseen impact in our lives. And how do we mitigate the impact in PMAP? We reconfigure the initial plans and programs. Decisive measures are to be made to cushion the financial impact while continuing membership services. Our disrupted committee activities for our July 22 to 24 AC in Iloilo, this has been suspended indefinitely. And for our membership, collection has been suspended and ongoing marketing efforts to get new members. For our center, Learning Center, the AIHRM, instead of our public programs, in-house programs, and diploma consultancy, we gave digital and free webinars of 2 hours until May 31st of this year. Digital with a fee, trainings starting June. And for our GMM, instead of the regular programming from January to November, we are now doing digital and free starting this month until May. And we will be offering also digital with a fee comes June to August. And we hope to see each and every one on our live GMM comes September until November. For our ways and means, much that we want to generate funds through our partner companies due to very limited activities caused by this crisis, companies are not inclined to sponsor. For the different activities of our committees, academe and industry awards chapter, CSR, international affairs, IR, Junior PMAP, Leadcom, MACC, Membership, Engagement and Wellness, Foundation, and SOF, all are on hold. The international affairs which we used to attend to meetings, we canceled everything. And uh, our accomplished committee activities from March 1st to March 16 before the the enhanced community quarantine for our academe. Uh, they had, of course, meetings in March with ILO and the British Embassy. And of course, a publication has been made to support our statement for the country's participation in the 2021 PISA. And the committee met in March 12th. And for our awards committee, the awards committee was able to have sites visits last March 3, 4, and 5, March 10, 11, and 12 before the uh, ECQ. For our chapters, we have Ligan actively doing info sharing about the crisis response practices of member companies and advisories in collaboration with PMAP National, the LGU, the DOH, DOLE, SSS, and Pag-ibig, and continuously campaign for participation to PMAP National webinars. And our Calabarzon chapter, well, with all the preparation, their March 27 GMN was postponed to April 27 and again postponed because of the extension of the ECQ. Sent survey to members and non-members through eBlast and serve as conduit in the requesting of goods, breads with gardenia for barangay Labas in Santa Rosa, Laguna, in line with COVID-19. They also coordinated with the Rotary Club of Batangas for the provision of relief goods to Barangay Manghinao in Bawan, Batangas, in line also of COVID-19. Our Cagayan de Oro chapter um, had courtesy calls with DTI in March 2, Dole in March 3, with their mayor in March 5, and of course, PMAP training needs assessment on the same day. On March 10, they met with the LGU Council of Employment, attended by the president and vice president, and March 12, met with ARD review of MOA on OSH. And on March 27, they had their Zoom meeting. And April 3, they had learning series. April 4, online help desk. April 13, they had the first webinar on COVID-19, a deep dive with Dole. And of course, on April 28th, they had their 154th GMM virtual meeting. And our Davao chapter had a board meeting last March 3 and committee meeting on March 13. And they had also CTSP with immediate past President Jerry Plana on engaging people towards organization transformation. And a diploma course meeting with the University of Mindanao with our IPP Jerry and our PS Richard and the other staff. And on April 6th, they had their webinar prayer hour. And April, the same day, they shared webinar with all Davao chapter members and encouraged participation. And on April 6 to 10, conducted training need in and company profiling to all Davao chapter members. About our PMAP Cebu chapter, they had the regular board meeting last March 12, and they had a fundraising for the frontliners. Project hashtag Kuanaw in partnership with Rafi, PMAP Cebu donated 100 gallons of hand wash. And they participated in the PMAP National Prayer Hours. And on March 12, and also our Cebu chapter donated again to frontliners with a co-sponsor of Cebu General Manpower Services. They donated last April 18 250 pack meals and 255 face shields to Mandaue City frontliners responders. And on April 24, they distributed 150 pack meals and 250 face shields to UC Medical Center. And on April 25, they donated 259 face shields to Chonghua Hospital. And our junior PMAP are still active. They had their 8th PMAP Bulacan Federation Bulacan Youth Summit. And their invited guest speaker is no less than Mr. Engelbert Kamasura, FPM. They had also their meeting, and they do campaigns, no? Daily campaigns, in fact, do daily updates, which is being posted on all SOCMED accounts which is ongoing since March 26, included international updates and count since April 26, 2020. Our junior PMAP national hashtag We Salute Frontliners video was released last April 13, 2020. And this has been shared to pages to different hospitals, food and beverage companies, delivery services, and many more. For our Media and Communications Committee, they printed 1,500 copies of People Manager magazine last February, which is supposed to be distributed. And ongoing media partnership discussion, of course, has been made and still being done. But unfortunately, because of COVID 19, it was put on hold. This was with Business World, Signal, Signal TV, Manila Broadcasting Company, Manila Bulletin, Philippine Daily Inquirer, and GMA. And for our research and collaborations, we had a MOA signing with Dole last March 4, and last March 5, there was a cascading of information about Circular 2020-014 about Labor Advisory Number 09, guidelines on the implementation of flexible work arrangement as a remedial measure due to the ongoing outbreak of coronavirus 19. And on the same date, PMAP proposed amendments. PMAP proposed, of course, amendments, and there was a guidelines on the payment of the final pay and issuance of certificate of employment addressed to the DOLE Secretary Silvestro Bello. And on March 9, a high-level consultative meeting was done with business leaders and government agencies. This is DOLE, NEDA, DTI, and TESDA. And March 10, there was a consultation with the Committee on Labor and Employment, the House of Representatives. This is reissues on security agencies. And on March 11, another cascading of information about Circular 2020-015 recommendations for the management in response to the COVID-19 outbreak. And on March 12, another circular was cascaded. This is Circle 2020-016 guidelines on the payment of employees' final pay and issuance of the certificate of employment. And on the same date, Circular 2020-015 reference materials during the high-level consultative meeting. While my dear friends, non-revenue activities between March 17 to 28, April 2020. We had webinars, we had updates on COVID-19 and surveys. Let me just share with you. We had 24 done webinars from March 20 to April 20 to April 24. And we had 18,486 total number of registered participants and 10,398 total number of Zoom participants and 535,933 total number of FB people reach and 146,987 total of YouTube live viewers. Well, we had so many, and coping with COVID-19, and of course we had prayer hours. We had, I believe we had 5 to 6 prayer hours. And my dear friends, all the updates on COVID-19, our dear members of the board, COPA, PSOF, and our PMAP HRM Foundation issued a statement of appeal and made a recommendation for HR during the coronavirus pandemic. And COVID-19, what you need to know, you can download through PMAP web. And PMAP COPA SOF and PMAP HRM Foundation made a call for a humane and scientific response. For our advisories, you can get everything on our PMAP website. Well, my dear friends, that will be all. I would like to thank all of you. Keep safe, everyone. God bless us all.
Can we give our virtual clap to our President? President Loy, maraming salamat po sa lahat ng tulong mo. Thank you so much for all of your hard work, sacrifices, even before becoming a president. And we look forward to your leadership, especially during these very trying times. My takeaway from our president's report: number one, optimize. We have May free webinars. All right? So libre po ito. Wala pang charge. Please log in and participate. The second action point here is participate all the time if you can. Allocate time for virtual trainings. And I love the webinar prayer hours. So it was triggered by the pandemic, and now we have webinar gathering and praying for each other. Maraming salamat po, President Loy. And
Thank you.
today, my dear members and participants, right now I could see about 210 participants here. We have three credible and engaging speakers who will enlighten and share with us their experiences and knowledge about becoming the best employers we can be amidst the pandemic, most especially. And that is by focusing on our people, most especially now with our current scenario. Ladies and gentlemen, let me announce who will be our three speakers and the flow of their topics. Our first speaker will be Gilbert Kamasura, FBM, for HR Toolbox: How to be an Employer of Choice. Our second speaker thereafter will be Matthias Gelber for Saving the Green Planet and Humanity. And of course, our finale speaker will be our past president, 2018, Michelle Cordero Garcia, FPM, for the competency framework for future proof leaders and employers. And now, for our first topic for today, the HR Toolbox: How to be an employer of choice. And what's fantastic about the topic today is there will be snippets about brand and the brand promise, local, national, and global. And so, with that, can we give a big round of applause first to Engelbert, or we call him Gilbert Kamasura, FPM? Allow me to introduce him with a short profile. All right. So, what you will see here on the next slide is really the bullets of his accomplishment. I will only get to read three of them. He is the Chief Executive Officer of HRTX Incorporated. And I'm happy to share with you that he brought notable partnerships such as SHRIM, SHRM, Society of Human Resource Management in the country for the advancement of corporate professionals. And the beautiful thing about Gilbert is that he has more than 20 years of experience in strategic people and business. His mantra: people matter. A big round of applause, virtual clap, everybody, for our first speaker, Gilbert Kamasura.
Oh, hello. Hi, JV. Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. And good afternoon, all PMAPers, dear friends, PMAP leaders, past presidents, President Loy, my fellow speakers for this afternoon. It's such a blessing to reconnect with everyone, though it's very unique, JV. We're all virtual, you know. And before I start my session, I thought that it's always good to connect with everyone and just check with everyone, wherever we are. Just wanted to know and see that we're all represented here. I believe our 200 more than 200 attendees right now are from the different parts of Metro Manila. I guess even Cebu and Greater Mindanao. So, happy again to join you today. My name is Gilbert and I'm joining you. I've been active in PMAP since not so long ago. Let's not talk about that. But my real background, thank you for that introduction, JV. I am I'm a talent management expert. I've been doing executive search and recruitment. I've partnered with most of you and probably have worked with some of the great brands here. So where my perspective of talking this afternoon and sharing with you this afternoon is from my experience having to see, and position your brands to the many candidates would probably choose to say which of you would appear to be the better brand. So I'm trying to flash on screen Are we? Do you see it, JV?
I see it.
All right,
You're
sure.
good.
Before I continue, today I chose to be happy, and that's my brand today. I wanted to be happy because I am with my fellow PMAPers, I'm with friends. I can see you all. I'm, connecting with you from my workstation, from my, nice place here in the corner of my house. So it's very interesting. My new normal has been very different. While disruption has impacted most of us, I have realized that it's all about acceptance, and let's just choose to be happy. I attend meetings right now via webinar. I run programs via webinar. I read news via social media. Though the bad news there is not all are, correct. I mean, there's a lot of false news. This misfortune that's happening to us right now is indefinite. So again, I chose to be happy. There is always uncertainty and anxiety building amongst our employees, your workforce. They all seem to be worried whether they have, a job to return by May 15. But again, let's choose to be happy. I'm happier now because I could eat lutong bahay by my spouse. And that one I don't eat when I'm in the office. I, grab whatever is available by the new restaurant. The funny thing is, you see me right now. I'm wearing this as very formal clothes. My formal clothes right now. I usually come in and attend meeting for as long as the webinar and the camera is not on. I'm on my very comfortable casual clothing, which could either be sando or my boxer short. I won't tell you what's below, but I'm certain that I'm coming into you formal on screen. And again, I chose to be happy. So this afternoon, and from here on, I'll try to disconnect and not to disrupt you with my face coming in and popping in all the time. I want you to focus on screen as I share some of my thoughts around how to become an employer of choice. So let me pull that down now. Can I just read from where is the farthest area that we have? JB, can you read? Among the participants, I guess we have from Mindanao and Cebu, right? You're on mute, JV. Anyway, so our topic today is how do we become an employer of choice? So my point is, what does it mean to be an employer of choice? So by definition, what makes a company an employer of choice is your ability to attract, right, and retain the best candidates with a desirable company culture. Most of you would probably showcase what you have, what it takes, why are you guys enjoying in your respective companies. You also try to showcase your leadership style and most importantly, your employee engagement. This day, especially amid COVID crisis, the challenge is tough and it's building. The pressure is on for all HR, all of us. That we need to consider the many facets of HR and how do we evolve our function that this will continually strive and to become a better partner of the business in promoting our employer of choice. In my discussion today, we will have building an employer of choice in three areas. The first one is on value proposition, which is supposed to stem from your corporate branding. Your employee value proposition must be an employee-centered approach. It must be aligned to existing corporate brand and integrated in the talent management strategies, and that it must be unique, compelling, so that it can act as a key driver of talent attraction, engagement, and retention. The second point that we will talk about is more on external marketing. It is how you package. It is how you promote your brand to outside. It is what your reputation means. Today, HR is tasked with creating an employee of experience that markets the business to recruits and employees. Crafting a relevant and resonant employer brand involves aligning your organization's aspirations, values and needs and wants of people you are looking for to recruit. I see the point that HR these days have to evolve itself either to become an HR marketing and an ambassador. Otherwise, HR and marketing are supposed to collaborate on strategic initiatives, especially driven by HR in the aspect of employer branding. But not engaging marketing on the project can become a big mistake on your side. So marketing owns the brand, as I said, they usually take care of your corporate brand, which employer brand has to emanate, and then you create your employee brand proposition by bringing marketing along the journey. Marketing will appreciate being asked to participate, and HR will save time and angst by getting them involved from the start. Top talents, of course, these days have their top choices of companies to work for. So the access to information, whatever they see outside, will accelerate either your new employer brand, your rule book, where companies are continually learning to adapt, and these are very key areas: your hiring, your retention, your engagement strategy, and practices for success. By coordinating these efforts with HR and with the and with marketing, your business will reap the business will create the benefit rather of in terms of attracting better talent and people that will fit in to your company culture. The third aspect that I'd like to take up is our your internal marketing in the brand. So internal marketing is about connecting employees with your external brand, showing them what brands mean to them, and ensuring that they understand and really live with the company mission. So internal branding is a corporate philosophy that focuses on bringing the company's core culture, identity, premise to its employees as well as its consumer. Usually, this looks to make workers the level as your levers of ambassadors. They become representatives. They should be able to communicate everything about their experience. This afternoon also, I shall try to attempt to present of not just becoming an employer of choice from these three perspectives, but we'd like to align your corporate brand on being an employer of choice, the global and local employer branding, and lastly, I'll try to marry the concepts of having global and local to what we'll eventually refer to as the local employer of choice. Global yet local in experience. Are you fan of any of these brands, JV? I guess you are, right? I'm sure
Google.
us, any one of us,
Google.
are very familiar. I'm sure some of you miss them because retail shops are closed these days. Respondents around the world were asked to rate their own employer and the likelihood that they will recommend their employer to a friend or family member. They also rated some of the employers, and these global brands, if you look at them, they're top of the mind of the many candidates. Some of them are actually have landed and have established their business operations in Manila. And it without even too much effort created by marketing and HR, they already attract the brand. In the US, just to let you know, Alphabet took the top spot for the third year in a row, followed by competitor Microsoft being the second brand. Open source software provider Red Hat made it to the third, followed by Apple at number four. In the Philippines, of course, we shouldn't forget about our good brand. I wouldn't mention them, but they're all on screen. Not supposed to endorse any brand here, but some of these brands are things that I love. My son, my family loves to go either enjoy their food, engage their service, and so on. In the Philippines, my dear PMAPers, the People Management Association of the Philippines, or PMAP, actually recognizes top employer brand with its prestigious Employer of the Year award. The Employer of the Year award represents, I believe, a standard of excellence in people management, which is eventually validated by employees who are interviewed. No, the award was intended to recognize and honor organizations that had achieved excellence and distinction in the field of people management, integrating employer value proposition, external marketing branding, and the consistency of employee experience with an overall impact to the business organization. Now, do you have what it takes to become an employer of choice? That's a question I wanted to pose to everyone. You may answer, and you may answer that by yourself. If you're one of these brands, I'm happy that you're being recognized. If you're not, answer the question. Do you have what it takes to become an employer of choice?
Gilbert, that's a wonderful question. If I may also, can you show that slide again? The list of brands. This is us exercising our opportunity to chat. So, to our 223 participants, anybody, can you please just type away in the chat? Looking at the brands which Gilbert is showing now, can you just choose two or three brands that you like or you miss, especially with the pandemic? Go ahead. All right. So,
Okay.
while we're waiting for the chat, go ahead, carry on, Gilbert.
So I have an activity for everyone, right? So let me share before we move on. Let me share an example of corporate brand that has that has very appealing strapline, which is consistent to its brand promise, external and internal. You're familiar with this? So IKEA, we all like IKEA, especially for those who would like to do it by yourself. It's to provide a well-designed quality product at an affordable price. Oh, I just love to go to their shops whenever I visit another country and then make it a point that I express the appreciation of having any of the IKEA brand. Let's move to another brand. Of course, everybody loves this. It's all about promoting joy in building. It's having that pride of establishing creativity. And if you align them to the corporate brand, to being an employer brand, who wouldn't like to work in any of these two brands, right? Now I have an activity for you. Let's have a little engagement activity. And I want you to give me the correct answer to the strap line that I will flash on screen, and you may share your answer via the Zoom chat box. The first person to share the correct answer will win a special prize from HRTX. I guess let's put it this way. Let's we'll give you 500 GC when we're back in the new normal. And PMAP may also probably give you some special price. But from HRTX, my company will give you a 500 GC from one of my favorite coffee shops, Starbucks. Right? All
So
right. Are you
Gilbert, uulitin lang natin yan kasi may mga nagpa-private message sa akin ano daw yung price. So the first person, tama ba, Gilbert, who will get a 500 worth of GC sa Starbucks
500
after the pandemic. Go
500
ahead.
pesos, baka dollars eh. 500, the first person will share the correct answer in guessing the name of this company just by flashing an image or their stop line. Let's go.
O
Everyone's
yan,
ready? Let
bilisan ninyo, members. Merong prize. Go ahead.
Okay. Anyone? 10, 9. I'm
Ayan
not
na,
seeing
ang dami.
that. Very good.
Naka-record naman ko sino yung una. And
Okay,
the
and
first one here is Regine Mariano.
in our Q&A, we'll make the announcement. So yes, you're right. Disney. Now let's look at the Walt Disney Company. What does their brand look like? While the economy may be a hot button issue for the US right now, like us, especially with this crisis, they don't seem affected by Disney's act. You know why? Because Disney has branded themselves to be the happiest place on earth, di ba? Who wouldn't want to work in the happiest place on earth anyway? So most people probably have the fondest memories with your families, with your loved ones. They recall Disney movies or amusement park from their childhood to make them feel good about the company. And as adults, as parents, we can pass down these positive experiences to our next generation or to our children. The nice thing about Disney is it has built around a brand of positivity and happiness, right? So congratulations to the person who answered it correctly. Let's do another round of guessing another company. And this is also another 500 pesos GC, or, from Starbucks. So you'll enjoy Starbucks with me. Okay, are you guys ready?
We are ready. Go ahead, Gilbert.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure that you're seeing it on screen, and I'm giving you enough time to answer. And whoever answers it correctly, you're right. It's Nike. We're all familiar with one of the world's largest brand, Nike Inc. Maybe you have one of their products, right? Or you have seen the marketing campaigns, or just even recognize the famous swoosh on their gear. The Nike brand has a reputation, but what about their employer brand? Nike has built a name for themselves as a consumer brand, since they're one of the world's biggest brand after all, including viral content, campaigns. They also have sponsorships. They have global ambassadors that really get people talking. But beside the consumer brand, I am sure we are interested in delving into Nike's employer brand. So typical Nike ads are all about movement, and this swoosh is actually showing us the movement towards the upper right. People are pushing themselves, not giving up. The brand has an ideology of being an athlete, and so with the employer or the workforce. Both professional athletes as well as regular employees are shown in Nike's advertising campaigns. Everyone is pushing their limits to reach their individual goals, whether that's a world of championship or around the neighborhood. Comfort and style are the second, you know, um, emotional appeal to us, but also important to the brand, since you have to confide and cool to be able to hit the gym. If you relate to Nike's core values, which are creativity, diversity, and continuous learning, you will actually see that how they bring in their people the best of their resources by supporting them in their career growth, health, well-being, safety, on top of competitive pay and benefits. We are the people that do. We lead, we invent, we deliver. We use the power of sports to move the world. So Nike is looking at this world as if everyone is an athlete, united in the joy of movement, passion for sports, and instincts for innovation come together as they aim to elevate human potential within their workforce. That is Nike. So let's now try to with your brand. So what is your brand? Again, another question is, what is your brand? I encourage you to type what is your brand, what is your strapline, and what is your promise. I want to spend a minute for all participants to be proud of your company, and what do you have to say about your brand.
Our speaker Gilbert is encouraging everyone be proud of your organization. Type it in your chat box. What is your brand promise? All right? What is your brand promise? Go ahead. Gilbert, may nagsabi na. Lynn Mookie said, I am really enjoying this interactive segment of your talk.
Thank you,
So
Lynn.
everyone chatting in, yeah. So
Pauline is
please
from
chat
PMAP,
away.
and I'm sure she would be proud of her brand. We wanted to know what is the brand promise of her company, Finma. And my dear friends, if you're with us, be proud. What is your brand? What is your promise? Now, I can't actually see the chat box, but if you have a company that has answered, JV, please go
And
ahead and.
you know what, Gilbert, sobrang bilis ng flow eh. Ang daming nagta-type, no? So I can hardly catch here, but I'm going to we do screening, right? Vanguard, National University Education that Works, College of St. Benilde, Innovation and Inclusion in Education. I'm
Interesting.
scrolling up. Last is Phelps Dodge Philippines. One-time investment, lifetime protection. O, di ba? Ang
And
lakas ng dating, Gilbert.
it encourages one person to actually engage himself or herself. That's what's happening right now with this activity. I wanted people to realize that with just sharing your brand and that strapline, it actually encourages you. It entices you to say, this is the right company I wanted to work for. This is the culture. So if College of St. Benilde promotes innovation, who wouldn't want to be in a company that adheres to such thing? And if I am in a very innovative company, chances are my career is going to be more progressive, right? So thank you for that,
We
guys.
have Dexcom, empower people to take control of diabetes. Alam mo, Gilbert, this is great,
Is
no?
one of the best brands I've encountered. And they care for people. Wellness is their number one. So thank you guys for sharing. Let me move on. In the interest of time, I know I have other speakers, and I really hope that I could finish this whole presentation. I've run this kind of thing. However, 30 minutes is not enough, but I'm trying my best to put it and try to contain it in the 30 minutes time. So let's move on. So thank you again, ladies and gentlemen, my dear PMAppers, for sharing your brand. So I wanted to share with you that in one of the survey conducted by Glassdoor, actually 84% of the employees or the workforce or job seekers are saying the reputation of a company is what they're looking for. This is what an employer of choice means to them. So it further validates that brand is about idea, and that that it's illustrated in the image that they see outside and translated to an employee experience. We need to understand, my dear PMAppers, that brand is pervasive. It gets through us. If we see it, it just gets through us. We have our own interpretation. Brand is symbolic. We interpret different things. We carve ideas out of it. Brand creates that emotion, owns its emotional properties. If I see a green colored thing with a mermaid, I know it's Starbucks. And it entices me to grab a coffee, to grab a cup of coffee and chat with my dear friend. It speaks a lot about how people are working for you, and it allows to question how people are associated with you. This leads us further to defining brand reputation as an employer of choice. The first is reputation of management. It's the reputation that management has for taking care of its employees, of being focused on the well being of its employees. The second point that I'd like to take up is the labor reputation. This is the idea of having same people sharing the same passion, values, and interests. It promotes that culture that you're all proud of, that supports, aligns passion, purpose of individual to company mission and values. So if you look at the whole thing, your employees eventually become the ambassadors. Where do they go? Social media, all means. If they're not happy, they run. If they're and they all post whatever feelings there. Glassdoor is a good example where you like to see whether your brand reputation is doing well or not. Let me flash on screen, and I quote this from SHRM, the organization, the largest network of HR. The idea of having a strong employer brand is something that no one ignores. 75% of our employees would say that this is very interesting. So, according to the Society for Human Resource Management, an employer brand is what the organization communicates as its identity to both potential and current employees. An employer should be the extension of the corporate brand, and the two should ideally be closely linked. A corporate brand communicates the product and the service expectation to its customers, and the employer brand communicates expectations on how employees will be treated when delivering those products and services. So if a brand is to its customers, JV, an employer brand should be a promise to its workers. And this is from SHRM. So when your employer brands are clear, and these are all communicated properly to through your employer value proposition and brand promise, you will have a better chance of attracting more talents. Job seekers are twice looking to apply when job includes employer branded content. If you see the big brands again, global brands, it it has appropriate numbers that you see. And what this means is that of the research that HRTX partner Cognos, one of the best consulting companies in Asia, which we partnered, shares that um, the more that your company is appreciated and the more it is considered an employer of choice, it has three times return in your bottom line. So it shows correlation between employer value, their experience of employees, and the return to the company financially. Now, let me share with you this framework on how to become an employer of choice. Again, we partnered with Cognos, crafted this whole thing, and we wanted to focus on the five areas: organization focus, and your real-time engagement, and having to increase motivation in these areas, and finally how to create a workplace performance that's at its best. So this shows that engagement is linked to both the engagement is linked to both extrinsic, this is your extrinsic and this is your intrinsic of an organization that will result to a workplace performance. Let's start with an extrinsic factors. To promote an employee engagement, the organization should focus and provide avenues to promote the well-being of employees. And a lot of our companies are actually doing it right now. That point is where later on I'll carve the brand Malasakit, but now it's promoting the well-being of the individual in the areas of physical, emotional, and mental. A lot of companies are already considering this as a strategy to keep productivity at all-time high. Well-being is missing from a lot of work cultures, though, my dear PMAppers, but it is not necessarily intentional. In most cases, cultures discourage well-being will primarily discourage people to become productive. For fast-growing companies, they may have difficulty forecasting staffing needs, thus creating an environment where employees are required to work excessive overtime in order to work. The customer demand is something very common. But for most BPO companies that I have, while their work hours are stretched, they really take care of their employees and focus on this aspect. The second point is that people need to create a workplace that is full of trust. And in this aspect, credibility is all about leadership. How credible are your leaders? Consistency is about your processes, and camaraderie is about teamwork and collaboration. If these two areas of organization focus are met, it actually leads to having a real-time engagement of having employees see their commitment to organization purpose, and at the same time their commitment to their respective roles. This further move to having an increase in employee motivation, in purpose, in the development focus area where they see the area for them to improve further knowledge and skills. Autonomy is all about having people to work on this is like your self genesis of effort through autonomous and willful action that is influenced by the legitimacy provided by the extraneous organizational collective environment. So autonomy of time, task, and team are essential. When we say autonomy of time, people are more would always have that initiative, no? Without being told, people just do it. People are driven to complete their task, and people are driven to collaborate. All of this, if you're able to, put all of these elements together, will ultimately drive a workplace performance, which again goes down to a compelling employer value proposition. To further align what we've discussed. So the moment that you have a very good employer value proposition, you've designed that, you've crafted your brand promise. These are the six areas where you will see that your people experience the same brand. So your workforce will have to see that there is the right care, which is creating the practice for employees physical and mental well-being. Companies will also have to be fair. So in the light of having workforce diversity, are they being paid according to the kind of work they're doing? Do they get the kind of pay that they deserve? Same with the benefit. Do they have a just practice by management without any biases? High trust is the third one, where you create credibility of the leaders in the workplace. So, I encourage people as leaders, to push, to communicate, collaborate, be seen, be felt by your workforce most of the time. Create a purpose that's very much driven by your organization. So create a higher purpose for people to feel them and let them become more motivated. You need to create again that autonomy that I mentioned, whether they have a freedom to independently initiate their activities, collaborate, and at the same time do their task by themselves. And lastly, there should be an element of having self-learning, or this would be your self-driven learning sessions and programs for people to actually upskill or reskill or learn new things to become more relevant in their workplace. So you need to provide great infrastructure to be coach, learn, and grow. I know that it's becoming information. I'm giving you too much information here, but let me just finally come into play. In this new era, there are three areas that you need to consider: people, platform, and practice. A question probably would come from being in this new era where we have this disruption from COVID. Are we seeing that platform is going to be essential? Yes, these are your technology, but platform without people, without best practice, will never become a holistic employee experience. So these are your three levers that will provide you that holistic employee experience eventually. And I'm sure everyone is familiar with this, it will create a key component of a compelling employee value proposition. You have a great brand, you have a great work, you have great people, and you have great pay. That will all form part of the employee experience. I'm willing to share all of these slides with you. Let's catch up later, and in our conversation. Now, to further drill down to my being a Filipino, to our being a Filipino, this is already my last few slides. We are already talking about having employee value proposition, having a brand promise that will really stand out. We need to make sure that we incorporate. In fact, if we go back to having, say, malasakit and being a Filipino, it's already there. If you look at your organization focus, where I mentioned about well-being, that's all about being malasakit. Trust is all about pagtitiwala and and that having pag-asa to your leaders, that they will lead, that they will drive the business to a better better roadmap. So enter the point of becoming an employer malasakit practitioner. What I meant by this is promote malasakit to be a strategy in your respective organization. Integrate malasakit, which will make you become a distinct Filipino yet global company. Let me drive further to the way we think, and we're doing research on this, on how the way to the malasakit to become a malasakit practitioner. There is a point of bayanihan where you promote camaraderie, where you see culture building. Malasakit is about relationships. It's about building that community relations, that craft of doing favor for others is really more putting yourselves, feeling the pain of one person and making things possible. Discarte is about talent management, and Filipinos were very strong in these three areas. If we're able to all put this together, I am certain you will have the employer of choice that everybody wants to be with and to engage themselves either as an employee or as your follower. Now, that ends my presentation. My company can help. We're with Cognos. These are some of our services that we could help you craft your employer of choice. Again, we'll be happy to support you, work with you. Ultimately, what I wanted to say is challenge you to become an employer of choice. So let's connect. Again, my name is Gilbert Kamasura. Let me now pull back my
Maraming maraming salamat, Gilbert.
you have questions, and if you wish to receive copy of the presentation, I have shared my email address. Happy to speak with you all. Thank you, JV, and thank you, dear PMAppers.
Yes, we will give you our virtual clap. Ganto na ngayon ang new normal. Sarili
Right.
ko na lang ang naririnig ko. I can only hear myself clapping. But can I ask all 220 plus members, pwede ba nating bigyan ng palakpak si Sir Gilbert or Gilbert?
There is actually a reaction in the bottom where you could actually raise your hand
That's
or
right.
guys to do very well. Again, I'm really so happy that I know I've extended, but I can't do much lesser. If I do less talk, I'm sure it would be meaningless to everyone of what I just discussed. But I hope again I'm chat with me. I'll share my email address in the webinar chat. Happy to connect with everyone. Thank you again. If there are questions, happy to entertain one or two.
Yes. Gilbert, maraming salamat. We have 3 minutes left for question and answer. I got a private message. O, di ba private? Ayaw niya ng pampublic na 200. Right? So the question here is, since you spoke about brand promise and being ambassadors, how can we do this given the pandemic? Yan, ang ganda ng question.
You
So
know,
within 3 minutes, hopefully we can cover two questions.
sure.
Go
And
ahead, Gilbert.
actually, for those of you who are with me today, it is a very, it's timely. You know, we heal as one. That's a very big promise out there. We heal as one. We care for people. You know, you show how you care for your employees. This is the best time to show your employees that you care for them. It is not about them not being seen or not them not being in the office, but it's them that you're reaching out to their respective residences or houses and just knowing how they are, whether their families are all okay. That's already a brand promise. It's a care, it's an experience at employee, right? There's no better way but reach out to your employees. I still hear, you know, JV, I'm a recruiter, I'm a chief recruiter, I'm a chief I do a lot of recruitment activity. Ang daming nagre-reach out sa akin. Their complain, their employees, they don't take care of them. So if guys, if you're, you know, an HR practitioner, if you haven't even touched base with your thousands numbers, no matter how big your company, no matter how small or big your company,
Mm-mm.
show how you care. Email, webinars, meetings,
Mm.
all sorts. Send care program or kit, whatever. Malasakit is key, and that's basically my message to that question. Answer to that question.
Gilbert, I'm having goosebumps right now saying that the brand promise is right straight uh, to our hearts, which is giving concern for others. The last question is connected to your answer, which is this is from Jane. Habagat or Jabagat, what are the ways to turn your company rejected candidate into a company champion and advocate? We're talking about talent. Go ahead.
Sure. First, know why they don't like you. You need to figure out what the market says, what the market will talk about. So, what do people talk about, or what are the things that your company will probably the good side and the bad side. Just don't flash on and only choose what you want to hear, but choose what you don't want to hear. And this is probably your feedback. Check your processes, your employee experience. Number three, do they really connect with your are you communicating very well clearly the values that you wanted for your employees to see? And that's your brand promise. If you say that you're a caring person, if you say that you're a very professional organization, touch points pa lang, like for example, when they apply to your job portals, do you really give feedback to them? A lot of you, I'm sure a lot of you are guilty of this. We don't give feedback to your respective applicants. For companies who are giving feedback, kudos to you, because candidates also would like to know what areas they need to improve. Yung mga companies that wanted to only just choose whoever they want to are not playing in the right alley of employer of choice. Again, it's about experience. It's about your reputation. Are you giving that right experience? Even so, I did a little survey. So this is what I do actually, JV. I do HR audit and build upon so our process is to make sure that I challenge the internal processes of HR. And most of the time, I am 100% sure that I could always present to the HR stakeholder the gap that they wanted to know. And most of the time, it's about employee experience from candidate to becoming an employee.
Maraming salamat, Gilbert. Next time, kailangan webinar series ka na para 1 hour and a half or 2 hours.
Yeah,
With that,
I'd love
my
to talk
dear friends,
about
virtual clap ulit. And
you.
God bless your profession.
Happy that I could all join you in this GMM of PMAP. Mabuhay po tayong lahat.
Mabuhay ka rin, Gilbert. At maraming salamat po sa phone-in questions. Phone-in talaga, no? Online questions. We got questions from YouTube also. We will make sure that the speaker will reach out to you through our database. Salamat, Gilbert. Moving forward, now we're going to the next part of our segment. All right, we're going to the next part of our segment. Hopefully, okay pa po kayo dyan in terms of your internet connection, and I hope that you're still very much engaged with us. Now, the next topic today is very relevant as well because, my husband a couple of days ago told me, Ni, I saw a video saying that our ozone layer has become better because of the lockdown and the ECQs and the global pandemic. Wouldn't this be an opportunity to take care of our planet as well? And this is a relevant topic we're coming in today. And I am very happy to show you, all right, the photo of our speaker, second speaker, that will be. And take note, my dear friends and members, he had been voted 2008 greenest man and greenest person on the planet. And we have him here today. And he might put it in his story that he has been living in the Philippines for a few years now. And Mr. Matias Gelber. So, first of all, virtual clap again for our speaker. Let me show you the background of the greenest man on planet. So, as you can see his background right here, I mentioned that yes, he had been voted the greenest person on the planet in 2008. And happy to share with you that he co-founded Maliki GmbH in Germany. I searched about this company and they're focused on green building products for sustainable construction. He's also an author now on his second edition for the Green Man's Guide to Green Living and Working. And take note, he has been judging for Miss Earth and other environmental centered pageants and events. A thought leader, a champion for environmental trends in Southeast Asia region. Can we give him a virtual clap? Go ahead. And this is for Mr. Matias Gelber.
Thank you very much, JV, for the wonderful introduction. And hi to all the PMAP friends. Great to see you here. And it's nice to meet you, even though we are meeting virtually. I am actually in San Pablo City, lovely San Pablo City, Laguna, Seven Lakes. And the environment here has become much more amazing. There is less air pollution, and this is one of the benefits of us having less vehicles traveling around. Obviously, we are in a very, very challenging situation at this point in time, and I want to share with you what we can do both on a personal level, on an organizational level, and then having the whole planet in mind with regards to protecting the planet and protecting us, the humans. Already many, many years ago, I actually mentioned in some of my talks, it's not about saving the planet will survive. It's about saving the human species. And I think now, for the first time, we've been hit by such a huge impact that this is becoming even more immediate for us as a existential experience how strong the global impact can be. Now, let me share some slides with you as well, and I will go into them now, and hopefully this will all work out fine. Um, yeah, that's my topic. This is the picture of my book on the left-hand side, Saving the Green Planet and Humanity. I really think we need to look at that in a joint way. Now, you guys, HR, and everybody else that's on the call, maybe in the past you haven't considered yourself to be a key player in the organization to play when it comes to sustainability. If you're a listed company, it's about the UN Sustainable Development Goals, ESG, environmental social governance, Securities and Exchange Commission is now asking all the listed companies to make an annual sustainability report. So there are more and more requirements, but often HR is not in the center. However, this was an article I saw 2 days ago. COVID-19 has made HR the most important job in sustainability. You are now at the center of the action. We need your help because we're now realizing that the human component is critical to making progress on sustainability. But first, I want to share a little bit of stories. How did I end up in the Philippines? It was 5 years ago. I participated in an event organized by some global speakers to raise money and support orphanages in the Philippines. I had already been in the Philippines before in 1999. I did a 4-day training course. I was still a young guy in Los Baños, Laguna, on how business can go green. And I got a lot of feedback from the audiences, you have to come back. I already felt maybe I have a mission in the future. But what happens when guys get struck by love? They immediately make changes. They follow their heart. This is how I ended up in the Philippines. Here is the day when I actually met my wife. You can see her on the right
I
hand
love
side of
it.
me. That's where
So
she is.
nice.
This was in the orphanage that we did an event for the kids. We raised funds for the kids. These are all my international speaker friends, and she was one of the volunteers. Wow, we have the same mindset. We want to help people, we want to help the planet, we want to make this planet a better place. If you are aligned, then love can blossom in an even faster way. And the amazing thing about me and my wife is we never have arguments. We are so aligned in our family. We have 3 daughter, Princess Afina, future Miss Earth, and our baby boy. But this is the barangay I originally came from in Germany. I grew up in a little village surrounded by the forest. Are they playing? Just in front of the iPad? I mean, nowadays we have the challenge in the lockdown, we can't do much, but I'll show you later on some ideas what we can do both in our homes and as well on a global level. This is how I normally look like, Calbo. Actually, Calbo is super eco-friendly. No water, no shampoo. It saves you a lot of money. It saves you a lot of time. And actually now I'm a little bit less Calbo, especially my beard since the lockdown period. I haven't been shaving at all. My wife is saying I start looking a little bit scruffy, but I hope it's okay. And I have been inspired by people in the Philippines, especially as well by this lady, the late Gina Lopez. I think she inspired a lot of you as well. And this is one of the things we need to carry on. Her mission, her legacy of really putting the planet's health and human health into the center of our personal activities, organizational activities, and then what we can do on a global scale. I've done a lot of talks. Let me challenge you with the theme of the talk I did in 2016 for JCI. Are you nature's healer or destroyer? This is a very personal question for all of us. What is our life doing to the planet? Is our bottom line we are healing the planet, or is our bottom line we are part of the problem? We are part of the destroyers. This is what we've been doing with my baby daughter since she was born. Get her connected with Mother Nature. And at the end of my presentation, you will see a picture of her with Mother Nature, and she took action herself. It wasn't me asking her to do it, but you will see it at the end of my presentation. Even the christening that we had, we tried to integrate all the eco aspects into what we did. Now, this is what I would recommend you to do. Try and be as real and as holistic as possible. Here you can see the christening. We used solar lanterns instead of candles. Everybody that came to the event got a bamboo straw for the buko juice instead of using plastic. The catering was zero waste. That was the key criteria for our caterer. It might have cost us a little bit more, but I got the shock of my life when I first attended a christening party in the Philippines. Somebody gave me a plate and they put a plastic bag on top of the plate, and I was eating from a plastic bag. Never done that in my life. So where we can reduce wastage in our personal lives, in our organizations, let's do it. The dress that baby princess is wearing, we borrowed it from our neighbors. Why buy an expensive dress just for a one-time use? Less is more. It saves us money, it saves us time, it makes the planet a better place. 90% of the things that we buy become waste within 6 months after buying them. And then you can see the final picture on the right corner there. We are planting 30 fruit trees to make our christening party even more eco. What happened was Nanai, for the first time ever in her life, planted trees. Even though she has a lot of land where she could do something in Quezon province, General Luna, where my wife originally grew up, she's never planted trees. Now she's planting trees. Now she's planting fruits and vegetables. And now she's so happy that she started a year ago and she can partially live and have the family fed with the fruits and vegetables. This is my pencil case. You might be able to recognize this. This is a typical drinking carton that we have. Nana turned it into a beautiful pencil case. Here, I open it up. It's got a zip inside, and my eco gadgets are in there. My bamboo toothbrush, for example, and many other things. So some of our waste can be turned into value, into new opportunities. This is what the Holy Father is telling us to do in the book that was sent to all the Catholic churches around the world, the encyclical letter called Laudato Si. And these are his tips. Avoid the use of plastic and paper where not necessary. Reduce your water consumption. Be more efficient. I need 1 to 2 tabos to take a shower. That's all I need. Uh, I don't necessarily recommend that to everybody, but it's very eco-efficient if you're a calvo. Recycle, reuse, cook only what you really need, show care for other living beings. Where possible, use public transport. That's a bit more tricky now. I have not had a car for the last 20 years. But now my wife is saying we need to get a car because without a car in the lockdown, we cannot go anywhere. So this is a bit tricky at this point in time. Plant trees, conserve electricity. If you save electricity, then you save money and you save your carbon footprint. Because where does the power come from? Kids that I gave an eco talk for 2 years ago said, no problem. The electricity comes out of the plug in the wall. But actually, we have power plants that generate the electricity, and that is where the pollution comes from. And the main sources of pollution in this country, in the Philippines, are the power plants and the vehicles that are traveling on our own. A lot of the vehicles that we have, some jeepneys, some buses, some lorries, don't have proper pollution control. You can see the black carcinogenic, cancer-causing smoke coming out of the back. One thing you can do at home, and we have a couple of these plants in our house, use some air purifying plants to give yourself a better air quality. I measure air quality at home. I bought myself an indoor air quality monitoring tool. It might be a surprise to you, but this tool that I'm using was invented by a Filipino. It's the world's most leading indoor air quality monitoring tool, and it measures 9 different parameters. On the one side, you see a very high carbon dioxide. That means there's no fresh air coming into your home or coming into your office. Some of you might have offices or meeting rooms where everybody starts feeling sleepy. Maybe the air supply in your office is centralized and you have partitioned it up, and suddenly the other parts of your office will not get any air supply anymore. That is when the CO2 goes very high and it makes you sleepy. It can lead to headaches. I wonder, and this is one question where I would like to ask you, is any of you guys currently aware of your air quality in your home or in your office? Maybe you can say in the chat box, yes. I wonder if there's a single person here in this call that actually monitors the air quality. If you look at the right-hand side, there is PM 2.5, 184. This is toxic levels of the small particles that go into our lungs. This happens even sometimes here in my home when there's open burning in the neighborhood. Some of these particles come from our traffic. So I got this when my baby daughter was born because I wanted to avoid that we have toxic chemicals in our home and in our room, because I want the health of my children to be as good as possible. And this is something you can as well translate into your office. Gilbert already mentioned employee and employer's health. Are we doing something about optimizing the health and productivity of our employees? There was a study made in Malaysia comparing the Petronas Twin Towers with an eco-friendly office outside of Kuala Lumpur. The eco-friendly office had more than 50% lower sick leave statistics than the Petronas Twin Tower, which seems to have some problems with sick building syndrome. It's a referee journal article. I can send you the link if you're interested. Sick building syndrome is real for some organizations, and it might even give you a bigger problem during the corona crisis. This was an article 2 days ago. Scientists find coronavirus in air pollution particles. So this might actually be one thing that you might have to address as well in your office. Meet your after the coronavirus office, where people actually use germ killing desk and air purifiers. This is going to become the new normal, that we are going to look at these kind of things. And I'm doing 2 more webinars in the next 2 weeks on those kind of subjects, because this is what a lot of businesses currently are interested in. How can we actually get our office as much as possible virus free? When you disinfect your surfaces, it doesn't last very long. The germs are killed immediately, but 2 minutes later, if somebody sneezes, there might be germs again. How can you do it in an ongoing basis? Here was a study in Guangzhou. Wuhan people came into that restaurant. One of them was infected. Even though the other tables were more than 1 meter distance, 2 other families got infected. A total of 10 people picked up the virus. And they concluded that the virus droplets had been blown by the aircon around the restaurant, and it had led to an infection of other people, even though the distance between the 2 tables was more than 1 meter. So loads of things that happen in our offices might need to be looked at from operations and HR to find solutions. Here's a restaurant in Hong Kong. They installed one thing, it's called plasma air. It recreates what you find in a forest, positive and negative charged ions. They can help destroying virus droplets that are airborne. And this lady here in the shop, I don't know, I think it's a shop, not a restaurant, has installed it, and she puts a poster in the front of the shop to let the customers know we have something that's going to kill the airborne viruses. So some of these things can be already done at not a huge cost to regularly avoid uh, um, the issue of viruses and other bacteria that could be floating in the air or that could be on your surfaces. Here is a different subject. A recent, when before the lockdown came, there was an event in a Metro Manila hotel. The easiest way how you can find out whether the light bulbs are energy efficient or not, touch them with your hand. If the light bulb is hot, it means most of the electricity is wasted into heat. You need more aircon. I calculated this ballroom had more than 300 old incandescent light bulbs, 25 watts. You could replace them with LED light bulbs, only 3 watt. You would get an ROI in 2.5 months, and you would save 16,000 kilogram of carbon dioxide each year. So that is the bigger picture of some of the things we can do in our organizations and how we can benefit the planet. This is a standard, the so-called WELL standard. It's a new trend. We are focused on environmental issues in our office, but now we need to focus as well on the wellness of the employees. This is as well a part of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. This is a part of the ESG criteria that listed companies are being measured by. We need to look at mind, comfort, fitness, light, nourishment, water, and air. Is everything that you have in your office optimized. BPOs lose a lot of employees fast to the competition. We can have better employee retention if we offer things that people don't see at this point in time. If you manage your air quality effectively and then can statistically prove, and these other aspects have a reduction of employee leave in the health statistic, and they help to keep the employee retention, then we will get benefits for our organizations. The Holy Father has as well said that climate change, if we look at the next level, the global level, going even beyond our organization, is a scientific reality, and it's a moral and religious imperative for humanity to take action. This is from Laudato Si, the encyclical letter. So there might be natural fluctuations in terms of temperature that we have seen in human civilization, but most of the changes, and I can see it in my little village, when I was a kid, I had 3 to 4 months of snow. Now, my brother's kids who are still in the same area, they have about 4 or 5 days when they can go skiing. So the climate reliability, the reliable climate patterns are gone. Philippines is an island nation. We are not the biggest polluter in terms of carbon dioxide and global warming emissions, but the Philippines is one of the top 3 countries at risk. If you have low-lying islands, power plants that are just above sea level, properties, condominiums, offices, you are at a huge risk if the sea levels will rise. A lot of companies' ability to perform will be impacted. Climate change is moving very slowly. COVID has moved so rapidly that the world was hit with a huge impact. Once the impact is there, it's often too late. Climate change is moving very slowly. That's why a lot of people ignore it. But once we have a 1 meter sea level rise, then it's too late. Like COVID, climate change doesn't discriminate against countries. It is borderless. It will be a global impact. The world has become very gray, everywhere concrete. Without us, it used to be green. This is one of the actions that I take. I buy carbon credits to make my remaining carbon footprint climate neutral. Carbon footprint is the total amount of emissions and impact that your life is responsible for in terms of contributing to the global impact. Your electricity bill, you can calculate a carbon footprint. Your travel habits. The biggest part of my personal carbon footprint is my flying. Now I'm not doing any of it. Normally I fly once a year to Germany. That's my biggest environmental impact. To visit my mother in my barangay and make sure that everything is okay there and support the German company. So I buy these carbon credits. The money goes to a project that absorbs and captures the carbon dioxide on my behalf. Maybe you can comment down there in the chat box, what is Mother Nature's most productive way of absorbing carbon dioxide? Let's see what kind of comments we get. I'm close to wrapping up. Deforestation and climate change could unleash a mind-boggling number of coronaviruses. There is a link. The fact that we humans, 7 billion humans, have driven a lot of the animals out of a balanced natural habitat and caged them in production facilities to satisfy the need for our meat consumption, a lot of these things are linked with one another. There seems to be a clear connection to what we do with animals and climate change and increasing occurrences of those viruses that humanity finds difficult to handle and to manage. So these two things could actually support one another. That's even more a reason why we need to take action. This is the shirt that I'm wearing. Normally I have green shirts. This is black, but it's green because it's made from recycled plastic bottles. Some of the waste that we have can become the raw material of a new product. This can be eco-innovation at your workplace, even new products. We just had Earth Day. This is one of the mottos I want to share with you. Make Earth Day every day. Start in your family at home. This is what my baby daughter does. She sometimes hugs trees. Isn't that a vision that we want to keep alive? That in 20, 30 years, we still have enough pristine environment that our kids and our future generation can hug Mother Nature. And if you haven't hugged the tree for a long time, once the lockdown is over, please do that. And do as well employee empowerment to help with reconnection with nature. And one day, if your granddaughter would ask you or your grandson, now or in the future, whether your business and your life helped the planet or damaged it, what would your answer be? You can be the change at home in your personal life with your family, with your office, your business, your community, and with the planet at large. Every little drop that we add can create a big stream. Thank you.
Let me again unmute myself and do that again. Again, maraming salamat, Matthias Gelbert, 2008 greenest man and greenest person in the planet. At this point, we have 211 participants only in Zoom. And I know that we also have people chatting away in YouTube. So, first of all, I have a few questions right here for you. You challenged all of us to hug a tree. All right.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
given the pandemic, we have limitations to be hugging a tree. All right. In this virtual environment, how can we show care and concern and virtual hug for one another? That's one question I got. Go ahead. How can we become virtually caring for each other and for the environment? That is question number one. Go ahead.
Yes, I think the virtual care with regards to your fellow humans um, is about connecting with them. Hey, how are you doing? Haven't heard from you for a long time. That's what I did with one of my German friends yesterday. He is stuck in Thailand. We used to live together in in Malaysia in Kuala Lumpur when I was there before. How are you doing, my friend? Somebody is there that's wondering how you're doing, that's caring about you, and that's interested in you. And hugging the planet, we have a lot of plants outside on the balcony. We have plants inside. That's how we hug the planet. If you don't have that ability now, then you're missing out on something. So the short-term action item should be after the lockdown or even during the lockdown, get yourself some greenery into your personal space. Because if there's no presence of Mother Earth in your house, in your home, then you're missing out on this essential gift of God, the connection to nature.
I love that. And I will let you know that I am a plant parent myself. And I love taking care of plants. I miss my Sunday visits to buy my plants. So, again, two
Mm.
things from you. The virtual hug, care, and concern is just catch up. You can Zoom, you can do WebEx and other platform, but also bring a few plants at home, literal na tip. All right. I have another question right here, Matthias. What is the name of that app or platform that measures air components? Thank you, Joanne Suniga. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
the air quality monitoring, it's an app and a device that comes with the app. It's called Yoo-Hoo. This was co-invented by a Filipino. They set up their business in Singapore, but he is regularly in the Philippines, and he is doing as well a webinar next week. If anyone is interested, I can send you the link. But you cannot do the measurement unless you have the device, so you would need to purchase that. But I did it when my baby daughter was born, and it's not that expensive. Those devices used to be very expensive because they were like very big technology. But now with the Internet of Things, they have become very small. And this can be either used at home or in the office as long as you have a Wi-Fi connection. So the name of the device is Yoo-Hoo.
Yoo-hoo. All right.
Yoo-Hoo.
So can you
Yes.
just chat away? You know,
Sure,
even
sure,
that
sure.
claps right now. Clap, clap, clap. Maraming salamat for the virtual claps. I have last two questions for you. I love this next question, and this is from Joy Escalera. All right.
Mm.
Ang tanong po niya ay, can you share some plants we can use at home or in the office? I suppose these are indoor plants, o 'di ba? You've triggered the passion for plant parenting, Matthias. Go ahead.
That's great. That's great. What what we have is, for example, the snake plant, and I'm just trying to see
Yes.
whether I can share the picture that I had earlier. Or actually, if you just Google Google air purifying plants, you will get loads and loads of graphics that you can download where they are outlined.
Yes.
We used a snake plant here. We used a palm plant. My wife is the one with the green fingers. We have about 20 different plants outside of our balcony. Even if we look out of the window, you can see the creeper plants hanging there on our window. And yeah, I can send you as well my presentation slides where I have this one slide in there with a
Yeah.
couple of examples of
Snake
plants.
plant.
Yeah.
Well, snake plant is not my personal favorite. Matthias, my favorite is rubber plant. Very easy to take
Mm,
care of. A little high on the price, but it gives you back the love because it's so easy to take care of
mm,
and beautiful also to look at. You know what? I
great.
got a message here, a few comments. Thank you, Mr. Gilbert. It's really an eye opener. One last, okay? So a few
Yes, yes,
questions, but
yes.
I'm choosing one last.
And I need
Um,
to ask one as well.
Go. Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
yeah,
So one last is you did mention um, that HR is the most important job in sustainability, most especially today. All right.
mm,
So for level one environmentalists, Matthias, give us a
yes.
few tips, just one or two tips on how we can really show to our people that this is given the most important job and we are helping them with sustainability. Go ahead. One or two tips on how to show our people that we are serious about sustainability.
Yeah. Make employee wellness an absolute priority in your organization. Go
Employee
beyond the
wellness.
usual thing, which is once a year you have an event where you talk about healthy food and balanced diet, but nobody practices it. Start with your canteen. Most canteens in the Philippines have oily, meaty food. There's no fruits and vegetables. If you can get vegetables, it's usually with meat inside. Filipinos have a lower life expectancy than the rest of the ASEAN because of our diet and air pollution and other aspects. We need to do something about that because the health of our employees and our own family should be absolute priority. We need to make some serious changes. We need to re-educate people. You need to measure the air quality and bacteria presence in your office and start doing something against it by improving your air quality. It will improve productivity and as well reduce any danger of virus and bacteria on surfaces and airborne. And that will actually make your office or even your restaurants or shopping malls that you might be involved in a much safer place when we open it up after the corona lockdown. And there are certain things that can be done that don't even cost that much money. I can give some more input on that if you want to take those actions, but that should be the priority. Get yourself involved in those things and become part of the sustainability team of your organization. If it doesn't exist, start it. HR can be the key driver. We need HR to become more proactive on the sustainability, heal the planet, heal the human front.
Wow, I have to pause from there. HR, this is our time to shine. And by shining means showing malasakit, care, and concern to everyone around us. So, with that, Matthias, anything else that you'd like to mention? You said you have one question.
Yeah, did anyone answer yes, whether they measure their air quality in their office? And did anyone comment on Mother Nature's natural way of absorbing carbon dioxide? I couldn't follow the chat box because,
Yes. A few people were honest and their answer is no. All right.
okay.
And that's the reason why I'm getting a
Mm,
flood of comments here saying that
mm,
this is such an eye opener topic for them, even for me. All right.
mm.
I will not pretend I am that environmentalist kind of person. I'm excited to hear your talk and I've been enlightened. So with
Happy to
that,
hear that.
Matthias, maraming salamat. And with your beautiful kids and your wife, may God bless you. And from where you are, um, You're as closest as you can get to us. Now, with
Thank
that, a
you.
big round of applause. Clap, clap, clap. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Tune in, Matthias, and Gilbert is also tuning in. And I will defy being in front of a laptop, and I am challenging myself and everyone. Can we give ourselves a virtual tree hug? Go ahead. So, can you just, I don't know how you're going to do this, guys. I don't see you. I trust you that you're just embracing yourself. And can you say this with me, everyone? I love you. Can you say that, Matthias, with me? You're my co participant. I love you. I will take care of you. Go ahead.
I love
I
you.
love
I will
you. I
take
will take
care
care
of
of
you.
you.
Beautiful tree, wonderful gift of
Beautiful
God.
tree. And everything will be okay.
Yes.
Can you say that,
Every
everybody? Everything will be okay. With
Everything
God's,
will be okay.
thank you, Carol. I hear you. With God's
everything will
perfect
be
timing and
okay.
provision, kaya natin to, PMAP. All right. Thank you for hugging yourselves. I like that. We are towards the culmination of the day, and I'm very, very happy to be bringing her forth with us. Not this time as our president. She was president of PIMA for 2018, but this time we'll, will share her observations, the different scenarios she's been in, both local, regional, and national. We are showing the list. Actually, I had to summarize this pa nga, but the background of this lady, you just really have to really meet her, right? Who doesn't know our 2018 past president, Michelle Cordero Garcia, FPM? I had a chance to work with her a few times, and one thing I love about her, she's simple, she's clear, and she's concise, and I love her hair. And so with that, that's her iconic image, our past president. Allow me to share with you a few profile points of Michelle. You can see on screen her experience. And I'd love to mention to everyone, if you may not know yet, she's now the Regional Director for Human Resources for Asia Pacific of Dexcom, the world's leader in transforming diabetes care and management by providing continuous glucose monitoring CGM technology. And I think kailangan ito ng nanay ko. My mother may need this very soon. More than 27 years in HR leadership, locally, regionally, and globally. And I'd love to share with you, she received a citation by the CHRO Asia as one of the most 2014 Global 100 Most Talented HR Leaders and one of the 2015 Top 100 Influential HR Leaders in Asia. I won't be surprised if one day I will see her in Times Magazine. She embraces her personal vision to be a catalyst in improving the landscape of people management in our country. Again, all right, we will give a virtual clap to past President Michelle Cordero Garcia, FBM.
Thank you, JV. Actually, naka-open yung video ko. Nahiya ako nung nag-describe ka na. So good afternoon, everybody. Hi, PMAppers. I didn't realize I miss you guys so much. I'm just so happy that we have 200 people here in our very first virtual GMM. So thank you, PMAppers, for continuously supporting our association, President Loy, and the rest of our trustees for 2020. So let me now start sharing my screen. So I hope you can see them. Can you see it well?
Yep, we
All
are
right.
okay.
All right.
We can
So
see it.
about 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, PMAP contacted me and asked if I can actually grace the GMM and said the topic is competency framework in moments of uncertainty. So ang tagal ko siyang pinag-isipan because I said, saglit lang, parang 1 month and a half pa lang yung situation. And here we are talking about competency framework. So when I was having a chat with you, JB, yesterday, di ba sabi ko, actually, JB, iniisip ko pa siya. Because it's always, this is an unprecedented time. And I think a lot of us were caught by surprise in terms of how are we going to manage this scenario facing us different organizations, different leaders, HR most especially, because this is all about the welfare and safety of our people. So what I realized is that maybe I can walk you through how my organization and how the leaders in our organization manage the situation. And probably from there, we will realize what are the important competencies that leaders important to have in these moments of uncertainty. So normally Q1 is a very, very busy period for HR practitioners like us. So I'm sure ibang iniisip natin before March 15. And na-inspire ako dun sa ginawa ni Gilbert kanina na nagpabigay siya ng prize. So Carol said, we will actually give away 3 PMAP books. And I need your help here. So just chat away. If wala tayong COVID right now, what do you think you are doing as an HR person at this very moment? March, April, yan. Kung walang COVID, we're under the normal circumstances, what is it that you are busy with at this very moment? Anong pinagkakaabalahan natin right now? So the first 3 who will actually give their reply will get a special book from PMAP. So JV, I need your help here. I can see the chat box, but I know there are people answering. I can see that.
Yes. Um, so PP Michelle, past President Michelle, sumugot kasi ako. Sabi ko, borrow with the family. But a lot of people are team building, attending meetings, planning for summer outing,
Outing.
meeting, yes, meeting for accreditation, trainings, di ba?
Mhm.
Forever.
Yeah,
Performance management office outing. Lahat
correct.
outing
Oh,
halos.
this period is actually summer outing period.
I
Busy tayo sa
know.
summer outing, team building, malamang recap the performance management, bonuses. Uh,
If I may just mention this one,
oh,
conducting CBA negotiation, o di ba?
ay, oo.
Ay, oo.
So, namimiss natin ngayon yan, di ba?
Recruitment. Ang daming gustong manalo ng libro mo. Sumabog ang comments.
Oo, nako, Carol, bahala na po ang PMAP if they want to give more. But first 3 answers, Carol is taking note. So, President Loy, if you're watching and still listening, baka gusto niyong dagdagan ng books. Maraming nag-participate.
More
But
than
yes,
10.
those are the things that, likely we've been busy with kung walang ganitong scenario. But the reality is, something happened on March 15. At ano yan? That was the time when community quarantine was actually announced. And hindi doon nagtatapos yung story, di ba? Because immediately the following day, the expanded community quarantine was actually released. So in our organization, allow me to share with you what we've done so far, ano yung mga naisip na programs, interventions, and hopefully along those lines, you'll be able to pick up some competencies or skills or paano nabuo yung decision making. And later on, we will try to capture that in a simple framework of competencies. So this is a very simple, I think, way of me sharing with you what we've done so far during the first days and first few weeks of our ECQ. So here, talagang dinifferentiate ko yung community quarantine on March 15, and then after a day or 2, nagkaroon ng pagbabago, and that was when they announced the expanded community quarantine. So why am I highlighting that? In our organization, that weekend before March 15, we were so busy preparing for the what we will do kasi nag-announce ng community quarantine. And everything was laid down, everything was planned, everything, alam na namin ang gagawin. We started to mobilize things that weekend. However, Monday afternoon, Monday, Tuesday, that same week, there was this new announcement about expanded community quarantine wherein the rules are much stricter. And then, kasabay niyan is ang daming lumabas na advisories coming from different agencies, from PEZA, from DOLE, from DOH. So, lahat yon as HR and as leaders, we have to make sure that we understand, we absorb, we try to connect how it will impact previous decisions made, anong impact sa operations, anong impact sa gagawing plans in activating the BCP. So, there was so much uncertainty happening during that period. But just the same, kailangan magmadali kasi there was a window of hanggang kailan ka lang pwedeng gumalaw so that you are able to continue your operations. So in our case, in our organization, immediately there was the activation of BCP. And if you have a BCP committee, you know that it's actually a group of people, combination of different leaders from different departments coming together to make quick decisions on how to ensure continuity of business and of operations. On the HR side, immediately we assisted and took the lead in employee accounting, making sure na kumpleto ang mga empleyado, we know where they are, we know somehow kung safe sila, so on and so forth. Immediately, we tried to make very quick decisions on basic needs. Dexcom here in the Philippines is considered part of the BPO because we are a captive organization, meaning nagpo-provide kami ng back office and shared services to Dexcom headquarters in the US. So part of the regulations that came out for BPOs like us is we can only continuously have people on site if we will house them in accommodations within certain kilometers from our office. So hindi pwedeng pumapasok lang on their own yung mga empleyado. So immediately our instinct was, all right, let's get hotel bookings, let's get apartments, let's get condominium units that for rent. And we had to do that within 24 hours. And it's not just getting one room or two rooms. We had to get about 60, 70, 80 beds within a certain distance from our office. So accommodation, transportation, food. So all of those basic needs we had to address immediately. And then there is also this group of people taking care of assessing the risk because we needed to make sure that we continue operations only with certain number of people. And while that was going on, we were also having discussions around, do we now make people work from home? And how can we enable people to work from home, considering that not everybody has laptops, right? Not everybody has internet at home. And in the nature of our business, hindi sapat yung ordinary internet. There has to be a certain bandwidth that people need to have in order for them to be effective doing work from home. So there was a lot of quick decision making, quick actions that we had to take so that we are able to continue our operations. Kasabay nun is securing the office because we had skeletal workforce who will remain to continue working on site. We had to secure the workplace. We have to make sure that it is safe. We have to make sure that procedures, protocols are well in place, and our support teams know what to do because we have that skeletal workforce of people coming in. Sabayan pa natin siya nung naging decision namin na, all right, our office is in Taguig. Not everybody can go to Taguig because of the stricter rules released by the local city government of Taguig. So what we did immediately was to actually secure ourselves another site. And yes, it's another office during that period somewhere in the south. And it's not in our BCP plan. It's not something that we've been paying for prior to this event. It's something that we had to find. It's something that we had to negotiate immediately during that 2-3 days. So a lot of it were making decisions, making actions as a leadership team, removing the box. So, di ba sabi natin dati, think outside the box. Ito totally wala eh. Totally remove the box, totally assess options, make decisions quickly. Sometimes we feel that we made decisions without enough risk assessment. But actions needed to be done very, very quickly. And we said we have to do this for the people and for the organization as well. So as we were trying to navigate through those decisions that we've taken, on the side, maraming tanong yung mga empleyado. Marami silang concerns, and we have to make sure that we also address those concerns, particularly referring to alternate work arrangements. Maraming tanong yung, sige, pag nag-work from home, how do we measure productivity? How do we make sure that people are really working? How do we make sure that people are really securing the equipment, securing our data, doing things according to standard operating procedures? So ang daming impact to operations that we needed to balance. And there were a lot of strategies and decisions, agreements made by the whole leadership team on how we will handle them. So during that period from March 15 up until, if you will follow the route, March 15 hanggang umabot kami ng sometime around March 19, 20, 21, 22, which was, ano pa lang to, nakaka 1 week pa lang to. So, which was the following week after the ECQ was announced, we already realized a lot of things. We said that, all right, we're putting our people into a situation wherein it's very, very new to them. Even kami as leaders, we were making decisions ng walang basis from previous experience because nobody prepared for a pandemic. I'm sure we all have BCP plans, but not to this extent. We also didn't realize na, okay, kaya pala natin gumawa ng ganong kabilis na decision na under normal circumstances would probably take us months before we can make that decision. Kasi magko-compare ka muna ng options, you'll probably ask for decision making analysis, matrix, and things like that. But here, 1 week, we got a new site. We were able to deploy all the PCs outside. We have 80% of our employees working from home. Pero after a week, this is when we realized that, all right, it's more than just that. There is the element of how is this new ways of doing work affecting our employees. So nagkaroon kami ng mga realizations and we started to talk about the welfare of the people working at home and at the same time the skeletal workforce people working on site. Because we do realize that we are actually taking them away from their families and they're actually staying within the vicinity of the office and not able to go home. So during that period, we continuously reassessed our strategy. We checked, tama ba yung naging decision? Tama ba yung mga ginawa nating pamamaraan? Are people productive? Are people okay? Naiintindihan ba ng lahat what is happening? What else can we do as leaders to help make good sense out of everything that is happening at the moment? So there was a lot of communication. There was a lot of hand-holding. There was a lot of stress being managed, employee level, leadership level. And sometimes you will see in our conversations, parang may konting init na ng ulo, di ba? Because things are so quick, so fast. Everybody would like to get certain results. To the point that towards the end of the second week, we were already talking about how's the mental state of everybody? How's the mental well-being? Kamusta yung mga tao? How are they really? Hindi yung kamustang how are you, I'm okay, I'm fine. Hindi yun eh. It's, kamusta sila? Deep inside, are they really okay? And it's difficult to get answers to those questions at the time that we ask them. Kasi yun yung time na medyo tumataas yung mga numbers. We were also monitoring if our employees are showing symptoms, if they're living with family members showing symptoms. So we had to call them regularly, one by one, check on them. So there was a lot of moving parts, operations, organization, security, safety, people, well-being, so on and so forth. But we had no choice. We had to continue looking forward. We had to continue making sure that the strategies we've taken are becoming stable every single day as we move along. We had to continue that we are able to sustain the operations. And maybe some of you are asking, so bakit kailangan i-sustain yung operations? Well, the nature of our business is we are in the healthcare industry. So we actually support diabetic patients. So hindi man kami yung frontline na sumusuport sa mga diabetic patients, we are actually the ones behind the scenes helping them make sure that their continuous glucose monitoring tools are operating properly. Lahat ng kailangan nila is being addressed, and things that they need are actually being catered to. So somehow deep inside us, we know that there are people who is relying on our service. So we had to continue our operations because we have patients that we need to take care of. And again, this journey, 2 weeks pa lang to. So this was actually the first 2 weeks of how we were operating as a group. And on the third week, feeling ko nag-cycle lang ulit. Kasi on the third week, we already started to ask ourselves again, okay, kasi ito yung mga may panibagong rules, may mga panibagong lumabas na advisory, lumabas yung mga sa camp, lumabas yung sa SSS, lumabas yung possibility of extending further the ECQ, so on and so forth. So it was a cycle of, all right, deactivate ng plans, let's account the employees again, ano ulit ang kailangan nila now that we have, surpassed the first 2 weeks, ano yung risk, ano yung additional security and safety that they need, kamusta yung connectivity nila at home. And I remember it was during the second or third week when we decided, all right, some employees are not getting good connection, let's give them dongles. So yung aming IT was there trying to contact, service providers, getting all the equipment, and we were trying to actually go and bring them to the homes of our employees. And we have about 750 employees. So all of this I'm sharing because I think with that story being told, we will realize that in just 30 days, these were some of the things that we've accomplished as an organization in terms of planning, in terms of assessment, and in terms of execution. So planning, assessment, execution, sabay-sabay yan, lahat ng nakalista on screen in just 30 days. So ganun siya kabilis, ganun siya kadami, ganun siya ka-intense. And you will see that on the first column, it's actually more operations, more admin. On the second column, it's now a combination of people programs being put in place. And then on the third column, you will notice these are the typical HR operations. And yes, while everybody was so busy trying to figure out what to do during the ECQ time, the HR team is also busy trying to work business as usual. And believe it or not, kahit kami nagulat, we actually hired close to 100 employees between March 15 until April 15. And we were able to onboard them, orient them during the first 5 days of hiring. So, kahit kami nagulat na parang, okay, kaya pala. Siyempre, hindi yan smooth sailing at the beginning. But, we were just so amazed at how agile people were, how resilient they are, and lumabas yung alam mo yung kagustuhan mong tumulong, and you know that, all right, by giving people the opportunity, by giving people na hindi namin ika-cancel yung offer, you will continue to onboard, you will continue to have a job, somehow may ganong drive coming from the team. So just imagine all of this happening at the same time, from strategy to execution. Ano yung competencies, di ba? Ano yung skills na lumabas? Ano yung skills na nagamit ng leadership team? And my biggest realization here is that competencies needed for us to use at the time were actually all the same. Yung mga naririnig natin competencies before, it's the same. The only difference is the speed at which to make it work is key. Yung decision making, learning on the fly, yung cognitive thinking, yung critical thinking, lahat yon nandun. It's the same set of competencies. The only difference really is in this time of crisis, what I noticed is ang laking bagay no mabilis kang mag-decide, mabilis kang umaction. And even if you're not sure, even if you know there's risk, somehow deep inside you, alam mo kung paano siyang i-manage and you're willing to take that risk, then I think that helped us a lot in managing the circumstances. Today, as we enter the the second, as we are in the second month of ECQ, we are now in the process of actually now discussing, all right, what happens in the next 30 days. So as an organization, as a leadership team, we are now in conversations in terms of, so how do we lead our people in this new normal? And it's not just about leading them, period. It's all about how do we lead them effectively in this new normal. And there are a lot of discussions, a lot of thinking happening in terms of how do we now attempt to stabilize the new work, because in the last 4 weeks, we actually redesigned some jobs in our organization. Sa HR, no yan. No in the sense that before you can actually redesign a job, ang habang proseso, di ba? Mag-analyze ka ng job, gagawa ka ng job description, malamang magbe-brainstorm pa kayo, magle-leveling ka pa, magjo-job grading ka pa before you can actually put it in an org chart, before you can actually execute. But in this time of crisis, immediately within 24 hours, we were able to redesign some of the jobs. We were able to redeploy people to do other jobs. We were able to actually have people learn new skills so that they can do new types of jobs. So there's this attempt to stabilize the workplace, and the workforce. The workplace right now, ang daming rules. Ang daming rules that we have to follow in terms of distancing. Ang daming rules we need to follow in terms of sanitizing the workplace so that we keep our people safe and secure. Ang daming guidelines. And all of this is because we want to protect the people. At the same time, yung workforce, di ba? We are very, very concerned and very consciously making sure that we are actually developing and taking good care, not only of the mind, diba, but the body, the mind, the heart, and the spirit. And if you will remember, the ECQ happened Holy Week, right? So parang it was intense. A lot of people are a bit emotional because of what is going on. And that was the time that we actually designed a resiliency program. We even had an online retreat during that period. So ang daming pagbabago. And I think what's critical at the moment is, and I don't know if competency is the right word, but having the ability to do what is just and what is right. Okay. Competency framework, we're probably very, very familiar with this model by Dave Ulrich. If you're HR, you're probably familiar with this. And tinititigan ko to actually for quite a while now, because I'm saying, okay, in this situation that we're in, nagampanan ko ba ako bilang HR yung maging admin expert? Siguro naman, kasi check. Maging strategic partner, I think so. So check. Maging change agent, actually overnight, di ba? Check. Maging employee champion. So pag tinignan mo siya, okay, lahat check. So walang bago, di ba? Walang bago. However, if you really, really look at it very closely, in this unprecedented and continuously unfolding time of uncertainty, it is not only what we do. It is not only about the programs that we've implemented. It is not only about the skills and the competencies that we used as leaders that's most important. But equally important is how we did it. Paano natin siyang ginawa? Paano natin silang kinausap? Paano natin sinabi yung mga bagay na dapat natin sabihin? Yung how has been very, very important. And I think yun yung pinaka nagmamatter in terms of leading in this time of uncertainty. And so I'd like to actually recap all those realizations during this 45-day journey of being this situation into siguro not necessarily competencies, but at least a framework. One is being people-centered, human. Diba? A clear strategy is very important to have right now. And this is a strategy focused on people, focused on ano yung well-being nila, yung safety nila. And it's very, very important that in leading in today's uncertain times, now more than ever, it is the time for us as leaders to lead our people for the safety and well-being of one another. The second one is being agile. It's very important for us to be courageous and help drive and enable our companies to rapidly adapt with ease to market environmental changes in a productive and a cost-effective manner while putting balance between people and other stakeholders in the organization. Again, easier said than done. And sometimes yung agility na apektuhan kasi yan nung pag meron kang agam-agam sa decision na gagawin mo. But you know what I realized? When your intentions are good, when it's clear in your mind, ano yung gusto mo talagang ma-achieve, for the benefit and welfare of a specific group of people, whether employees yan, patients yan, or customers yan, then your decision making will be much clearer because klaro sa'yo ano yung objective mo and what is the focus that you have in your minds. And lastly is staying true to your values as an individual, as a leader, as an organization, and guiding others to lead with character and with integrity. So this is the hat. And again, JV, you've inspired me to come up with this hat um, framework. So that is being people-centered, human, being agile, and being true to our character and values. Tayo HR, we always say we need to always look for moments that matter. And this is that moment. How we will lead today will actually leave a legacy over the longer term. And it's therefore very important for us to be purposeful in everything that we do in this time of uncertainty. So maraming salamat and back to you, JV.
Maraming salamat. Thank you, Past President Michelle Cordero Garcia. Well, filling in almost 200 participants when Michelle and I were aligning for her talk. Ah, medyo nangingiyak-ngiyak talaga kami sapagkat iba tong pinagdadaanan natin eh. Iba nag GMM tayo na nasa bahay, kaharap ng laptop. But this is the challenge, resilience, courage, faith
True.
in God, love for each other. And that's the reason why PP Michelle, our past president, ikaw ang finale namin because we know that you will challenge us. What I love about what you said is that we're used to hearing out of the box.
Mm,
Now, remove the box.
yeah.
And execution with discernment matters.
Mm,
I have a few questions for you, and we have a good few minutes for you to flesh this out.
sure.
The first question is before you did your 24-hour execution of the plan, all
Mm.
right, following your instinct and working on your street smart strategy with your team, what was your feeling before you did the execution? Dumaan ka daw ba sa isang shock mode din? Di
Nako,
ba?
yung alam mo ang nervyos, di ba? Again, these things, this is actually a leadership team effort in our organization. But just the same, ang daming kaba, ang daming nervyos. And even me as an HR, there were instances wherein talagang gagawin ba natin? Sandali lang, guys. Sure ba tayo dyan? Because, hindi kasi tayo sanay na mabigla ang decisions on bigger things, right?
Yes.
Malalaki yung dinidesisyonan eh. Hindi siya simpleng project, hindi siya simpleng initiative. It's actually huge decisions with huge investment. Those decisions were not cheap. Those decisions were actually umaabot kami right now ng millions because of those strategies. But each time we will come across that roadblock, ang lagi naming tanong is this the right thing to do? And we would always say, yes, it is the right thing to do. Not easy, but it is the right thing to do. So that helped. That's one. Two, minsan pag hindi sure, ini-embrace ko na lang yung mindset na, sige, fail fast. Di ba?
Fail fast.
Oo, parang, sige, if this will not work, then it will not work. Bukas, usap tayo ulit, we will correct it. And another thing that we kept in mind is, again, unprecedented. Wala tayong pagtatanong. Wala tayong benchmark. Hindi ako pwedeng tumawag kay PMAP na PMAP, baka meron kayong benchmarking report. Walang ganun eh. So those days, I think, were examples of wala kang ibang panghahawakan kung hindi yung prinsipyo mo, yung values ninyo as an organization, at yung alam mo sa sarili mo that you are doing this because you want to protect and take good care of the people. Yun yung panghahawakan mo. And again, it's all about being confident na okay, mali kung mali, fine. Yung humility na parang, sige na, wag na tayong mag-ano na parang hindi yan tama, there's a better idea. Walang time. There's no time to brainstorm. So, it's really the confidence, the courage, and again, embracing that humility na, okay guys, kung mali, mali, we will correct. But let's do this now.
Grabe, sana meron pa tayong time, Michelle. Ang dami nating pwedeng pag-usapan pagdating sa courage, humility, faith,
Mhm.
hope, and love. Kung nakikita mo lang yung mga comments sa chat box natin, Michelle, they are touched, they are inspired, enlightened by your story. And the good thing or the interesting thing about the topic today is competency framework. Pero ang baon ni Michelle sa atin is that we have the competencies. We know our competencies. We just have to act fast. And if we need to fail, fail fast and learn from there. Last one question bago po tayo mag-wrap up. This is important from Florante Antonio. How did you address your issue on personnel with no laptops and no database internet? Go
Okay.
ahead.
No laptops, again, ano to ang mga unconventional, hindi, kahit ako hindi ko siya naisip na, ay, kaya palang gawin, pero nagawa. We send the desktops home. We have employees na walang laptops, so our IT and again, our BCP team mobilized sending the desktops home. So isa-isa po, tinanggal namin sila dun sa table ng employees in the office. And again, these are not simple desktops. In our organization, medyo we support technology. So dual screens yan, maraming nakakabit, so on and so forth. So we had to bring them to where our employees are. Yung mga walang internet connectivity, and again, minsan meron silang connectivity but the bandwidth is not enough. So we had to deploy dongles para magamit nila at home. So all of those things we had to do and complete within a week. And we're talking about, roughly around 650 units being deployed to the homes of our employees. Minsan, alam mo, nagtatanong din kami, kasi parang, do we need to deploy to everybody? Kasi baka pwedeng, sige, kalahati lang, huwag nating i-deploy lahat. One thing that really, I think, tested our character as an organization and as a leadership team is, lagi namin sinasabi, pag hindi yan nakapagtrabaho, walang sisweldohin. Kasi mauubos yung leaves nila, di ba? So, we were
Yes.
to compute. So, we said, let's do everything we can to make sure that people will have a means to be able to work. And fortunately, hindi po kami nag-apply ng camp because we managed to have everybody productive. There were days during the first week na nagde-deploy pa ng mga PC na talagang what we did was we developed the gym. We called it Dex Gym. Gym is grow your mind. So our talent development team develop an online curriculum worth 40 to 80 hours kasi iba-iba ng situation. Na ang naging ano namin sa employees is while you're waiting for your desktop, go through this online training. And we will count them as productive hours. We will count them as if you're working and therefore you will get paid. So yung mga ganong decisions, I think helped. And again, ang nakatulong sa amin was yung intention to make sure that everybody will have a way to get their salaries because they need it the most at this time.
And you know what's amazing is that you even mentioned within March and April, you even hired about 100 or more than 100 employees. That's amazing, Michelle, and to your company as well.
Yep.
I know we are challenged with time, but I need to honor a few more questions. Please, a few more minutes to everyone. 185 right now in the participants list.
Mhm.
From Lay Marie, what are your re-entry plans in the workforce, given that we have new norms?
Mhm.
Right? And then after which I'll entertain just one last question. Okay?
Yep. Re-entry plans madami. Madami po kaming versions na nakalatag. Again, depende on how this thing will unfold. But right now, somehow, meron kaming ini-expect and we are ready to actually slowly by trenches bring people back on site as soon as we get clearance that we can start to do so. Handa kami na this will not, I don't think a lift of the quarantine will happen na parang, o sige, lifted na, okay na, balik na sa work. I don't think that will happen. I think what will happen is this quarantine will continue. Probably may konting mga leniencies that will happen. But again, as organizations, kahit i-lift yung quarantine, kahit sabihin nila na pwede nang bumalik, if we are socially responsible organizations and employers, tatanungin mo yung sarili mo eh, papayagan mo ba silang lahat bumalik? Papayagan mo ba na yung office mo, hindi mo na-reconfigure so that people will still have some distancing when they go back to work? And those interventions are not easy to do. You need time to do them. So in our case, we are actually prepared to slowly bring back people on site as a certain percentage, as a certain period. Depende kung saan sila nakalugar. We are also ready to activate a plan na should it happen na bumalik na tapos biglang parang sa China 'di ba bumalik na the following day pinauwi ulit sila, nag-quarantine ulit sila. So may mga plans around those things. But again, I think tayo as organizations, even if the quarantine will be lifted, it is incumbent upon us to make decisions that will really protect and safeguard the well-being of our employees, because ang responsibility natin sa kanila is to make sure that they go back home safe and healthy to their loved ones.
Umaapaw yung concern at malasakit ng mga speakers natin for our employees. Last na lang po talaga ito. Let me find that in. I'm being flooded right now with some comments. Wow, people are inspired by this conversation. Last one. What options can we do, past President Michelle, if the company cannot afford to pay talent given the operations are now shut down?
Correct. Totoo po yan. Siguro my organization is one of those fortunate organizations na kaya namin tong supportahan. But don't get me wrong, it's difficult, right? Because we're even not sure up until we can sustain. But yes, I know that we have some colleagues even within the association, member companies na going through a much more difficult time. Ako sa akin, those are the realities that we have to live with, right? And as HR, if and when kailanganin talaga that we let go of some people or we cut down on our operations, let's always keep in mind that do the exit in the most appropriate and most kind way. We have to keep in mind that we're letting go of people, and these people have families. Meron silang mga pangangailangan, and we have to make sure that we execute these plans in the most humane, um, in a way that will still preserve the integrity and self-esteem of every individual.
Maraming salamat, Past President Michelle. May I have virtual claps coming from everyone? And Michelle, if you have one word to express your feelings as you were talking to us, what is that one word?
Ako humbled. I'm humbled that I'm actually here talking to my. Actually, nga ko lang na-realize, parang 2 buwan akong walang kausap, parang HR yung HR. So parang feeling ko ngayon, I'm being surrounded by my colleagues in the HR profession. So humbling, nakakatuwa din na i-share yung experience and the insights and the realizations. And I hope through this, PMAP was able to actually be an instrument to remind all of us na ang laki-laki ng gampanin natin bilang HR in making sure that our organization stay true to its commitment to the people, and that is to treat them right.
With that, maraming salamat po. Virtual clap again for everyone. And as we are wrapping up at 3:31, hihingi lang ako ng ilan pang minuto up until 3:40 as we exit Zoom, just to quickly gather my personal thoughts and aha moments from our speakers. I had the chance to talk to them a few days ago and personally inspired by Gilbert's Malasakit for One Another. Akala mo yung brand promise niya, highfalutin for formula. Hindi. Ang brand promise is really malasakit for one another. Hats to you there, Gilbert. And for the greenest person on earth, personal self love, it has to start from us. And then it emanates to organizational wellness, preparing our workplace when they go back after the lockdown. And then, according to him, reminding you no small action is too little. All right. No small action is too little to make the world a better place. And of course, for past President Michelle, the hat. Let's be human, let's be agile, and let's be true. True to the calling of love. Because love, all right, defies our challenges. With that, last two things before we end the day, all right, or before we end the GMM. Chino, our from our Chino Santuile from PMAP will be showing you something to you know culminate our day. Go ahead, Chino. Are we launching them into our menti.com, which is how to summarize our experience today? All right, everybody, this is what we're going to do. A lot of us, may not be all of us, familiar with menti.com. If you have a separate gadget, a phone, please go to menti.com. And if you're just using your laptop and no extra gadget, I need you to open a browser, go to menti.com. All right. We will do our word cloud for today. And the code is 64860. Let me say that again. Code into menti.com 64860. Uh, Go ahead, Chino from PMAP. Can we show our question? My dear 200 participants today, what is one word that will best describe your experience today in our virtual GMM? Go ahead. So what's happening now is we are going through a word cloud. We use this also as a tool to make our virtual learning interactive, enlightening, inspiring. I'm seeing hopeful, informative, humanized. We also see malasakit, informative. Allow me just to give 30 more seconds for everyone to plug in your answer. What is one word that best describe your experience today with us in our very first virtual GMM? Maraming salamat po. Thank you so much for those who joined in the chat box, sending us comments in YouTube, and then now doing menti.com. To our three speakers, Gilbert, Matthias, and then we also have Michelle. God bless you. We're now culminating our 655th GMM today. And of course, as we close, we bring back our wonderful, all right, and very committed President Loy. We are requesting now the presence of President Loy to officially close our first virtual GMM.
Just allow me to please thank our resource speakers, Mr. Gilbert Kamasura of HRTX, the greenest man on the planet, Mr. Matthias Gilbert, and our 2018 PIMA President, Michelle Cordero Garcia, and of course, our prolific moderator, Miss JV Wong of People Ignite. PMAP would like to thank you for your generosity in accepting our invitation. God bless you. And with that, the 655th General Membership Meeting is now adjourned.
With that, maraming salamat po. We made history today. It's our very first virtual GMM or General Membership Meeting. I am JV Wong, your co-HR practitioner, and it is my honor to be with you today. With that, God bless you and take care, guys. Enjoy your time
Bye.
at home.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye.